Hey there, my name's Brashler, and in this video I wanted to show you how to create a vocal reverb on the Behringer wing, but have it go through an effect return on a channel for some extra processing and some extra flavor for being able to send out wherever you want to. Now, if you're brand new to my channel, I'm all about helping you feel more confident with your production gear, no matter where you're starting from. So let's go ahead and dive in. Now, last week, I was showing you how to get a vocal reverb set up on the mix bus to send from the mix bus to the main PA and even your stream. Now, if you want to check that out and do that, you should check out that video. I have a link down in the description below for that. But this video is going to be specifically on how to take that one step farther for having an effect return. If you're familiar with the Behringer X32, the Behringer X32 had a mix bus that sent to the effect rack, then it would be processed by a reverb, and then it would return on an effect return, which you then would be able to turn up that volume fader to go wherever you want to. Now, there's a huge benefit of having that effect return. One, you can process it with some compression or EQ, but also you can send it pre-fader to a mix bus. So those of you who have musicians that want to have a reverb in their monitor, which is pretty often the case, having an effect return is going to give you a lot better experience for that musician because you have the ability of sending that pre-fader. Now, one limitation on the Behringer wing, bus-to-bus sends is a post-fader send. There is not the ability to send a pre-fader tap from a bus-to-bus send. Now, a bus-to-bus send means that I have my mix buses here. I have my vocal verb bus set up here on mix bus 13, and I can send this to another bus. Now, this is really helpful for saying subgroups and different things like that, of being able to send something to another bus, which is really great. But the downside is, if I turn this down, this fader down, I'm also going to be affecting the volume of me turning down this fader is going to be adjusting the volume that's being sent to that other bus. So for instance, a monitor on your mix bus 1. If I turned the level down of this vocal verb, then it's also going to be adjusting the volume for that mix bus. So let me actually show you how to, one, get a vocal verb set up on our mix bus 13, send a vocal channel to that verb, and then we will get that sent to a vocal return or an effect return on one of the auxes or a main channel. So let's go ahead and get that reverb set up here. So I have my mix bus 13 and I'm going to go ahead and select that. Now I need to actually insert an effect rack onto this mix bus. And because we're going to be having a reverb return that I'll set up, I am actually going to select my post fader insert point. And so I'm going to go to my second insert point and I'm going to select an effect processor. Now, because this is a verb or a chorus or a delay or a flanger, all of those are premium-based effects in the Behringer wing. They are time-based effects. Those only exist on my effects racks 1 through 8 on this left-hand side. So for my vocal verb here, I'm going to select my effect rack 1. And then once I've done that, I can go and select my effect type. So I'm just going to select any verb that I want to. So I'm going to select my vintage reverb here. Now, once I have that done, I'm going to press on. Now, anything that I send to this mix bus is going to be processed by this reverb. Now, one reason that I selected the second tap point is because I can now adjust the EQ of the mix that's feeding my reverb. So for instance, I can go and apply a low cut by going into my settings, and I can change my low band to a cut and my high band to a cut. And so at this point, I can go and adjust my low band here, and I can set this maybe at 120. And then I can set my high band at maybe 10K, and maybe I can add in a little bit of a cut, that sort of thing. What's nice is I have full EQ adjustability of my mix that's feeding that reverb, which gives you a lot more control than just your normal low cut and high cut that's actually built into the effect parameters. So that's one benefit of doing it this way, of having your effect post fader, because my EQ is going to also be in that same spot. Now, of course, because my compression is before this, if I was wanting to compress the mix that's being sent to this verb, I can also do that as well. But now that I have this verb here, I don't really have anything going to it. So let's go ahead and send my vocal microphone to this. So I'm going to go find my vocal microphone, which is right here. So if I unmute this, we can hear this. And I'm going to send this vocal microphone to that reverb, which is on mix bus 13. And so I have a kind of a couple different ways that I can do this. I can either do this as a sends on fader, in which case I would go pull up my bus and I go and select bus 13, and then I can go ahead and unmute and turn up the amount of volume being sent from this vocal microphone to the verb. This is one way of doing this. The other way of doing this is by going to my actual channel, going down into my sends, and then I can go find my vocal verb, which is on mix bus 13. I can go ahead and turn this on, and I can adjust the volume all the way up to 0, or whatever I want to send this as. Now, one important thing about effect sends is you want them to reflect the volume of your mix, which means that I need to have this set as a post fader send. Now, I can do that by channel by clicking up here, and I can select post, or I can do that globally on the actual effect. So if I go back to my bus masters and select my bus 13, I can go up into my configuration page and then go and click on my bus feed. And at this point, I can select all channels and I can set them to post. Or if I have this that I'm setting up for the first time, I can also set any of the parameters. So I can go and select just my vocal microphones and do this, and I can actually set the level at 0 if I wanted to, that sort of thing. Once I've made the things that I want to set, I can go ahead and press apply. And so at this point, this mix bus is post fader for all the channels on the wing. So I have this channel. It's being sent to this mix bus. And if I go and look at my mix bus, I can see that I have volume in this mix bus. However, this is not being returned anywhere yet, which is where I am going to go next. Now, I can go and pull up one of my aux channels. And so I could do this on aux 3, for instance, if I wanted to. So I can select aux 3, and I can go up into my home and then go to my input. And I'm going to select my input as my bus 13. So I will go to my source group, I will then go to my buses, and I will go and select bus 13. Now we can see that my vocal verb is returning right here. Now I can go ahead and start turning this up, and we will start hearing that volume. Now what's really nice about this is I have full adjustability as far as my volume for this reverb goes. Now I can go to my bus master and I can turn this down, but I still have my control of this bus return. So this is my effect return of my vocal verb. So the best way of having this is setting this to 0 here, and then on our auxiliary return, I can then go ahead and turn this up. And now this is my volume for my reverb. Now, one other really important thing about this is I have this aux that I can go and apply EQ for the return or compression for the return of this verb. So I can go and select my EQ, and I can turn this on, and I can do whatever I want to manipulate the sound of this verb. So as I'm listening to this, maybe there's a little bit too much of that sound right there. So I can go and find it, and then I can just cut that out to give a different sound to this verb. Now, the other aspect of this is because this is coming to this channel, I can then send this channel to a monitor specifically for an in-ear. So because I have this channel here, I can go to my bus sends, and I can turn this on to my mix bus 1, and I can turn this up, and I can set this to be pre-fader. So this is a tap point. Now, because this is a tap point, this is pre-fader. So I can adjust my volume here as much as I want to for my mix that's in my room. And it won't adjust the volume of the verb being sent to that musician that's on mix bus 1 for their monitor. So for instance, if I go and turn this down, so we can see that I do not have verb being sent on my vocal verb here. But if I go and select my mix bus 1, and I turn this up, and I solo this, we will hear that there is verb happening in their in-ears. But this is the mix in-house, so it doesn't have any verb. Or if I go back to my auxes and I turn this up and I wanted a whole lot of verb, I now have a ton of reverb. But if I go into my mix bus and I solo up that mix bus 1, this is still the same level for verb being sent to this musician. Now, one important thing that I need to tell you about with sending this to a channel for the return is that we need to make sure that this channel is feeding all of the destinations that you want it to. So in my last video, I was talking about a different volume for the in-room experience on your main PA and a different volume for your online broadcast with your either recording or stream mix. And so this channel is just like any other channel on your board. You can independently adjust the volume being sent to those main mixes. So for instance, here is my vocal verb. I have selected that. I've gone to my main send, and now I can turn this on to my stream mix. So maybe I have this, and as I'm listening, this is a little too much in my main PA. Well, maybe I can go and dial this down just a little bit. Okay, and check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is a perfect amount of volume for my main PA for my verb, but maybe I want my online mix to have more reverb to make it sound less dry, which is very common. In which case, I can leave the verb send at 0 here for my main sends, and if I go and solo up my stream, we can hear that there's a lot more reverb in my stream mix versus my main PA. And so that's one of the big benefits by having your effect send be on your bus masters. So here is my effect send. And then the return is not going from this bus to the main PA like I did in my previous video. The return is actually feeding my aux channel here, and then this channel is then feeding my main PA. Now, if I wanted to have a little bit more adjustability as far as the tap goes, then I can put this on a main channel. So for instance, my channel 40 here, if I go up into my patch, I can go and select my bus, and here is my bus 13. And so now I have my vocal verb right here, and I can turn down my other one and turn this up, check 1, 2. Now at this point, this has a full amount of tap points for this to send to whatever. So for instance, if you wanted to be able to shape the sound of your verb for the online or the in-room experience, but not have that reflect the send to the monitors, you could go and select a different tap point. Now, the other thing about this is you also have your tap EQ to be able to send a specific sound to your mix buses and matrices off of this page, which is one thing that you do not have if it's on an auxiliary channel. Now, I hope this video was helpful for you today. There's a lot of different options as far as how we want to have our vocal verbs set up and how we want to have that feeding different things. Obviously, there is a huge benefit of having a vocal effect return because I can then give this pre-fader to any musicians that want some verb in their in-ears. Now, if you do happen to have any questions, or there's a video that you're hoping that I would make on the Wing or really any production equipment that's out there, please post that in the comment section down below. I'm always reading through those comments to find videos that can be helpful for you. If you haven't already, make sure to check out my website at drewbrashler.com, where I sell some effect presets for your Behringer Wing, where I have put together some of my favorite effect sounds and put them together as a download available for purchase on my website at drewbrashler.com. So check that out if you're interested. Otherwise, I hope you have a great day.